The Chicago Bears made a trade yesterday for Montez Sweat, but shortly thereafter, the 49ers made a trade for Chase Young, leaving many Bears fans to wonder, why didn't the Bears go after Chase Young, or did they overpay for Montez Sweat? We're going to talk about that. Plus, we're going to talk about a running backs coach for the Chicago Bears being fired and why Jack Sanborn is going to get a big chance to step up this week. We're going to get to all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every single social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the content for today. And so the Montez Sweat is the trade is the biggest news around Chicago Bears community right now, right? Fans are talking about it, asking if the Bears overpaid. Are the Bears going to be able to re-sign him? Why didn't we trade Chase Young? What's going on with Jalen Johnson? How is Montez Sweat going to come in and perform considering he's not going to be on a star-studded defensive line like he was with the Commanders? It's tons of questions around Montez Sweat and if he's going to pay off in the way that maybe Ryan Poles had hoped for, especially with this coaching staff, right? So all those questions are valid questions. Now, shortly after the Montez Sweat trade, the 49ers traded for Chase Young for a third-round pick, while the Chicago Bears gave up a second-round pick for Montez Sweat. Now, a lot of Bears fans, not all, but a lot of Bears fans in the comments of the video yesterday asked, well, did the Bears overpay for Montez Sweat? I'm going to tell you why the Bears did not pay for Montez Sweat. We're going to list out the reasons why Montez Sweat actually makes more sense for the Chicago Bears, even though me and many others would have loved to see Chase Young on this team. Montez Sweat, I don't think was an overpay at all. If anything, the San Francisco 49ers, may have overpaid for Chase Young, considering he's probably more likely to hit free agency than what Montez Sweat is. At least that's the rumors around it right now. And that's kind of where we start off with, right? While the Chicago Bears do have to negotiate with Montez Sweat to keep him in a Chicago Bears uniform, and some Bears fans have the right to question if the Bears are going to be able to do that, considering how some of these contract negotiations have gone with the Chicago Bears and with their star players. And so, there's enough question for that. But everything is pointing to Chase Young potentially, especially with being younger, having more questions around him, that he is more likely to still hit free agency even after this trade. And keep in mind, the motivations of the 49ers are very different from the motivations of the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are trying to go after somebody who is going to be a surefire, more long-term solution for them. And so when it comes down to it, the 49ers are looking to solidify their Super Bowl chances this year. They already have a studded defensive line on top of that. So even if Chase Young does leave, right, the 49ers are in a better place and situation to withstand Chase Young leaving in free agency than what the Bears would be in that case, right? So, Montez Sweat has fewer injury concerns as well. That's the biggest obvious part of it. Chase Young tore his ACL back in 2021. And so with that, he missed most of the 2022 season. He's come back. He has some question marks. There's even been some things to come out. Maybe is there some things to go out with his hip, things like that. Through 3 seasons so far, Chase Young has played 1,425 snaps, whilst Montez Sweat has played 1,953 snaps through his first 3 seasons. So that's kind of a comparity between those. The durability of Montez Sweat over Chase Young is noticeable. And if you're a Bears fan, the Bears front office, and you're trying to make sure you're going after something that's more long-term for this team, not necessarily as short-term with Chase Young hitting it, Montez Sweat is the safer option in regards to that, right? Montez Sweat has played 64%, 66%, 69%, 79%, and 69% of the snaps available to him over the first 5 years of his career. Chase Young, 78%, 80%, 65, 84% of the snaps, and he's playing 15% of the snaps more often than Montez Sweat this year. So, again, there's some signs for that durability going up, right? And so, again, I like to offer both sides of the situation and scenario, but the Bears got the player right now that has the more surefire, health record. So that's something that absolutely plays a part into it as well when you look at that. And so, they are trying not to have a short-term rental. Now, it could end up to that. I think it is concerning as well that the Chicago Bears have said that they plan to have every opportunity, right, to make an offer at Montez Sweat to reach a contract extension during the season. But it doesn't seem like they're too sure on that either. So, listen, the end of the day, the 49ers are better to withstand a rental than what the Chicago Bears are. It seems like the Bears are more committal to Montez Sweat long term, and we'll see if that ends up paying off for the Chicago Bears, I should say. Now, outside of the injury concerns, outside of the long-term contract extensions, and the possibility of getting to the free agency, one thing as well, while Chase Young is the better pass rusher, I will give him that, Montez Sweat is the better overall defensive end. When you look at their numbers, for example, as far as in both the running and the passing game, Montez Sweat so far this year has 27 pressures, while as Chase Young has 38. Now, we already talked about the fact Chase Young is playing more snaps right now, but it is. Sweat has a pass rush production score on PFF of 7.7, while Chase Young is a 9.4. Also, Chase Young has an 18.4 pass rush win rate, whereas Montez Sweat has a 10.6. So listen, when it comes down to it, Chase Young, when he's healthy, is a better pass rusher. Can't take away from that. But there are two sides of the game of football when you're playing a defensive end. And so with that being said, Montez Sweat has been a much better run defender than what Chase Young has been. Chase Young, a 7.2 run stop rate, and then a 6.8%. Well, that was his rookie year, 6.8% in 2021. And so Montez Sweat has an 83.7 run defense grade, whilst Chase Young has a 58.1. Sweat has a 7% stop rate, and Chase Young has a 4.6% stop rate. I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you guys. But what it boils down to is Montez Sweat is a better run defender than Chase Young. And if you can talk yourself into the fact that the difference in the pass rush it's there, right? I don't want to act like it's not there, that Chase Young isn't a better pass rusher per what the statistics and numbers tell us, but their gap between that is not as large, especially as what the gap is in the running game, in the run defense. So Montez Sweat is the better all-around defensive end when it comes down to the numbers. That's what it shows. Now, of course, Chase Young being healthier, you never know with that. He's also younger. He hasn't hit the ceiling yet at all. Chase Young has still room to develop, absolutely. And that is why, like I said before, I would have loved the Bears to trade for Chase Young. But I understand why they chose to go after Montez Sweat instead of Chase Young, and it was not an overpay. If we're comparing the two deals, there's a reason why Montez went for a second rounder and Chase Young went for a third. And especially when you're looking at the teams and that were involved in it, they have very different motivations. The 49ers are trying to get a title this year. And if Chase Young ends up leaving in free agency, like I said, they are better in a place to withstand that. The Chicago Bears are looking for a long-term pillar to help improve their pass rush outside of just the season. Because as we know, even though, the Bears aren't technically out of wild card contention, as it is right now, we're not competing for much this year. So it's more of a future projection when it comes down to Montez Sweat for the Chicago Bears. And so, listen, this is really a kickoff to the Chicago Bears free agency of 2024. That's the way that I choose to look at it. Again, I'm not saying that everybody needs to agree, and I'm not saying that people who have their doubts around the Montez Sweat and the Bears being able to hold on to Montez Sweat, that's valid as well. But if the Bears go out and they get a player like Jared Verse to be on the other side of Montez Sweat, right, and then Montez Sweat motivate and mentor that player as well, that young player, listen, that's a big get for the Chicago Bears. So that's something. They've made a considerable step to upgrade their trenches on the defensive side of the ball. We got to see if it's going to pay off. Like I said before, this isn't to say or crap on anybody's idea or concerns over Montez Sweat and even maybe thinking, hey, should the Bears have maybe went after Chase Young instead? All that is valid, right? And I want you guys to know that your thoughts and feelings on that are valid, right? But it may pay off that this is the better move for the Chicago Bears, but I'd love to hear from you guys. If you're on the YouTube side, talk amongst yourselves, right? Give off your thoughts down below. We would love to hear from it. Now, we got more controversy, unfortunately, when it comes to the Chicago Bears, right? I'm going to sandwich this. We're going to have, the critique in the middle. We're going to end with something a little bit more positive as well. But the Bears have fired the running back coach, David Walker. This was a decision made, apparently, by Chicago Bears HR, and it was due to some of his conduct. There was misconduct with him. So right now, this is concerning for a team that has already had a coaching controversy with Alan Williams, which, luckily enough, that's died down some, right? We haven't heard as much with the Alan Williams thing. Again, he's away from the team. He's no longer part of the team, so that's good there. We don't have to worry about that distraction. But for the Chicago Bears in the season that we've had, it just continues to be a season of calamity and hilariosity, which isn't even a word. I'm making up words, but it is what it is. But the Bears firing a running back coach and it being fired for, that type of thing where it's still a little mystery around it, his conduct and things like that, and the fact that it wasn't even made by Kevin Warren. It wasn't made by Ryan Poles. It wasn't made by Matt Eberflus. It was made by Chicago Bears HR. Listen, I'm tired of we have trouble on the field, right? We got a QB controversy that shouldn't be a QB controversy. We got inept head coach and offensive coordinator. We already had one controversy with the defensive coordinator, and now it's a running backs coach. Everything that could go wrong for this season for the Chicago Bears basically has gone wrong, right? And it's so much things outside of football that, honestly, I'm just going to be frank, it sucks. As a fan of this team and somebody who not just is a casual fan of this team that loves the Chicago Bears, not only is it a disappointment for us to come in the season and to see the performances that we've gotten on the field, the questions around the coaching staff, it also just sucks that our team has been in pretty consistent, just controversy that shouldn't even be there. Like the Justin Fields thing that came out not too long ago, right? It's just a constant stream of BS when it comes to the Chicago Bears. And let's hope that we're getting it out the way. Maybe change a lot of changes this offseason. We can move forward to being a team that just focuses on the damn football field. Like that's what I want more than anything. Can we just focus on what's going on the football field? We deserve that as Bears fans, to have a product on the football field that is the focus of the team, of the fan base, and we can rally behind it. Can we just get that? Please, can we just get that? Let's hope so, man. We'll end up seeing. But all right, before we go, though, I do want to talk about something more positive. So it's a negative, but leads into a positive. So Tremaine Edmonds is injured, which is going to lead to Jack Sanborn to get a little bit more opportunities for the Chicago Bears this upcoming year, this upcoming game. And I think that this is one that I'm really going to be taking a look at Jack Sanborn taking a bigger role. We know what Jack Sanborn, how he stepped up, led the league in tackles after Roquan got traded away before he went down with injury. And while, we brought in TJ Edwards, we brought in Tremaine Edmonds. TJ Edwards, by the way, is playing like an absolute beast. And we knew that was probably going to minimize some of what Jack Sanborn was for the Chicago Bears defense. But now, the fact that Jack Sanborn is going to be stepping up due to the injury of Tremaine Edmonds, I hope that we see more from Jack Sanborn of what we saw last year, to remind everyone why C-Dub loves Jack Sanborn so much, right? And so this could be something that, especially now with the upgraded trenches as well, with having Montez Sweat, which I don't know if we've heard anything for sure or not, if he's going to be able to be playing this week or not. But I think that that's going to be something to really look out for. And Jack Sanborn is a player that, the Bears got as an undrafted rookie, somebody that we liked a lot here. We noticed him in preseason last year is when me, C-Dub, and Bobby really started talking about that the undrafted linebacker and Jack Sanborn really stepping out and turning some heads. And I'm glad to see him come into a position now where he's going to maybe be able to show that once again. And so let's hope that. And overall right now, the improvement that Montez Sweat could potentially bring for that defensive line, right? When you look at now being able to have Montez Sweat, Andrew Billings, DeMarcus Walker, Justin Jones, even though I would like to see DeMarcus Walker move more towards the 3-tech a little bit, right? And, it is what it is there. But then you still got Javon Dexter, Yannick Ngakoue, right? This defensive line now may start going more in the way that we hoped that it was going to trend when we signed Yannick Ngakoue. So maybe that's the case. That's also another thing to look forward to in this week, especially if he does play. How does he make an impact? Now, again, Bears fans, please don't try to make knee-jerk reactions based off one game if he does play, what that means or not. But listen, overall, I hope that they're able to lock in Montez Sweat for a long term. And if they are, it's going to pay off for the Chicago Bears. Let's hope so, man. But that's the time for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following the show at Chi Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.